What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing part 2 of the Forever Forward Great League Battle of Spice, featuring 10 more of the spiciest teams you will ever see winning in the Great League. Now remember, this is the final chance to qualify for the Battle of Spice World Championships later this season, which I will announce the details of very soon, but for now, let's just get straight into the question of the day. What's the most memorable spicy Pokemon you've ever faced up against in the Go Battle League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the Battle of Spice now. Let's go into the first battle, and as we usually do with the Battle of Spice, we are starting with a bang. We've got a level 50 Shelter in the lead up against a Shadow Swampert. We're going to no-shield the first move. The opponent gonna fire the Sludge, which is going to hit for neutral damage. However, we can fire back with an Icy Wind and look to debuff their attack stat. Icy Wind gonna be shielded. We're now gonna swap into our Togepi. We've already seen they are on Sludge. However, with the debuff, we're actually able to hang on there, living a Sludge and reaching a Dazzling Gleam up against the Shadow Swampert. Dazzling Gleam is actually going to grab the final shield from the opponent. At this point, we might just look to come back in with the Shelter for some energy from the opponent, but no, we're actually gonna come back in with our Hisuian Zorua. We're gonna use our shield as the opponent fires off the Hydro Cannon. Unfortunately, they will reach another Hydro Cannon, so we are now forced to use both our shields, as despite the fact that they are debuffed, Hisuian Zorua is a very glassy Pokemon, and we would not tank a Hydro Cannon very comfortably. But Foul Play gets the knockout from that range. They're going to come in with a Bullet Seed Credilli, and that gives us the opportunity to swap out and make a catch onto our Shelter. We've got a lot of energy already on the Zorua. However, now we can come in, fire off the Shadow Ball. Unfortunately, Shadow Ball is not quite going to get the knockout. However, it is going to put them into range where Foul Play comfortably gets the KO. So at this point, we're going to go for the Foul Play, throwing on CMP. Foul Play wins CMP, gets the knockout, and their final Pokemon is going to be an Edge Slash in the back, and that should be game over. We're going straight for Shadow Ball. It's going to hit for super effective. It does huge damage, and we're already at the Foul Play. Foul Play, of course, non-stab, but it's still super effective. It gets the KO from that range, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see Beautifly in the lead up against a Mightyena, and we are going to be on Infestation as the fast move. We're going straight for an Air Cutter. Air Cutter gonna be shielded by the opponent, and they swap out into an Ember Pyro. So pretty spicy pick on the opponent's end, but we're going to come in with a Greatly Rayquaza. Nope, that's not actually Rayquaza. It is just Pikachu with a Rayquaza hat. Really cool to see. I do wish that the shiny versions of these would have the shiny of the hat as well. That would have been really nice to see, but either way, they're going to come back in with the Mightyena. Of course, we're not going to shield. Poison Fang doesn't quite get the knockout, which means we're going to reach a Wild Charge. Discharge, and Discharge does decent damage. We can now come in with a Tinkertuff, and their final Pokemon going to be a Alolan Ninetales. This game already seems wrapped up, but just to make sure of it, we're going to swap out Catch a Chilling Water there onto our Beautifly, coming back in with the Tinkertuff, going straight for a Play Rough bait. Probably unnecessary because we can tank anything very comfortably. Plus, we still have a shield, and it looks like the opponent has realized there's not much they can do here. So we're full sending Flash Cannon gets the knockout. We can Fairy Wind farm down Mightyena, and we're able to take that game. Now into the next battle, we've got a triple Mohawk theme team here, leading with our Squawkabilly into the Ninetales. We're going to swap out into Toxtricity. We're going straight for Wild Charge. Wild Charge is going to be shielded, and at this point, we're just going to take that shield advantage, let the move go through. Rage Fist gets the knockout there as we did debuff our defense, and now we can come back in with the Squawkabilly. So we're going to come in, go for the Peck farm down. Unfortunately, however, the opponent is going to reach another charge move, and whilst it probably is just going to be another Rage Fist, which is double resisted, we do end up shielding anyways. We get the full farm down, and we are now full sending a Brave Bird. Ninetales, bit of a core breaker to the team, but they have to shield the Brave Bird. Now they come in with a Shadow for Alligator, and we should be in a pretty comfortable position. They will comfortably outpace us to the charge boost. However, we can tank a single Hydro Cannon. These counters are really adding up already, and we've got access to Thunder Punch for coverage. First one, going to grab the final shield. At this point, the opponent is very quickly outpacing us. However, we should be able to reach another Thunder Punch here. We're going to throw just before they reach a third Hydro Cannon, and Thunder Punch number 2 gets the KO from that range, of course, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Lairon into a Jumpluff lead, so a pretty good lead matchup, and actually just great for the entire team. We're going to no shield here. The opponent is going to go straight for an Energy Ball, which is going to hit for neutral damage, rather than, of course, an Acrobatics, which would be double resisted. We can go straight for Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, gonna deal big damage, and now we're going to swap out into our Growlithe. The opponent gonna fire off another energy ball. Once again, that is gonna hit for neutral damage, and we're able to bait out a Gelatin, which honestly, pretty good for us because our entire team not gonna do particularly well, but we do have access to Crunch, and Crunch is gonna hit for super effective. Now I'm going to shield the Surf. We are now going to look to overfarm in this matchup and fire off another Crunch just before they reach Surf number 2. Now if the opponent goes for a slight overfarm here, well, that's going to be big trouble for the opponent because we're able to reach a third Crunch, throwing on CMP, winning CMP, and actually taking out the Jellicent. They're going to come in with a Typhlosion. They do get the Incinerate farm down. However, that's still fine with us. We can come back in with the Shadow Lair on, fire off a Body Slam, grab the final shield, and this should be a very comfortable matchup for the Hisuian Arcanine. We're going to no-shield the first move as they fire off a Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch actually will two-shot us. We go for Wild Charge here, not really sure why. Obviously, we could have gone for Rock Slide there, but either way, Wild Charge gets the knockout. We still got a shield, it doesn't really matter. They come back in with the Jump Bluff. This time, we do go for the Rock Slide, getting the knockout, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got a triple shiny shadow team here with Shadow Tyrantrum, one of the latest shiny shadows to be released, and honestly a really nice shiny shadow as well. We are going to stay in this matchup here. The opponent is going to swap out into a I forgot what this is called, a Marwar. I was about to say Malamar, obviously that's not a Malamar. They swap into a Marwar, and we don't really have a good response at all, so we actually chip with a Meteor Beam, then we come in with the Shiny Shadow Muck, and we're just going to no-shield everything. They go for Power Punch, they're on Power Punch and Play Rough, so actually we completely wall the energy there, which is really nice. Let's see, they're going to come back in with the Dust Noir, and we are full sending a Dark Pulse. They're fairly low, so we probably could settle for a Thunder Punch here, and we are going to go for the Thunder Punch this time around, after grabbing the shield, and Thunder Punch is going to grab a second shield from the opponent. However, we're going for the combo play, sniping with the Shiny Shadow Tyrantrum. Crunch gets the knockout. Their final Pokemon is going to be Azumarill, and I'm just realizing it was not a Meteor Beam, it was a Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, of course, gonna debuff the Azumarill's attack stat, which is very nice for us. We do still have a shield in play, and we should be able to tank anything they throw, even a Hydro Cannon, but they are going to go for an Ice Beam, and this should be game over. You can see we are running Gunk Shot here, so we're going to shield this as they fire off a second Ice Beam, and now we are going to full send a Gunk Shot. Of course, super effective damage. This is comfortably going to take out the Azumarill, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Shadow Prinplup into another Shadow Dusknoir in the lead. We're going to stay in this lead matchup here. We're on Bubble Beam and Icy Wind here, so double debuffing moveset. We go straight for Bubble Beam, and Bubble Beam is going to be shielded. Of course, that's going to debuff their attack stat. We're going to shield the first move as well. Unfortunately, it looks like we are going to be outpaced to the next charge move here. We have debuffed them. However, Shadow on Shadow, Shadow Punch actually still gets the knockout there, so a bit unfortunate for us, but we're going to come in with a Polmo as they swap out into a Shadow Greninja. We're going to shield the Hydro Cannon. We are now going to look to overfarm just a little bit here. Probably not expecting to grab a shield, but the opponent is actually going to shield there, so we're going to bank the energy, swap out into our Shadow Charmander, and unfortunately for Charmander, it is just going to be used as a third shield. However, that sets up the perfect farm down. They come back in with the Shadow Dusknoir, and we're going straight for a Thunder Punch here. Thunder Punch is going to get the knockout from that range, and their final Pokemon going to be a Tinkaton, and we're at back-to-back Wild Charges already, so I believe the opponent now has the energy for the Bulldoze, but it doesn't matter. We can go for the first Wild Charge, go for the second one straight away. Wild Charge number 2 gets the knockout, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got another triple shadow team here, leading with Shiny Shadow Ursaring in the lead. The opponent's going to be swapping out, and they're swapping into a Tinkaton. At this point, we're going to no-shield this. This should just be a Bulldoze. Bulldoze is going to get us very low, but we can tank that, and we've already got back-to-back close combats. So first one does huge damage. We're now going to swap out into our Bug Bite Shadow Pineco, which does have the same charge moves as the Fortress in Sand Tomb and Rock Tomb, and we're able to double resisted Bug Bite farm them down and come out with the Rock Tomb loaded. So they come back in with the Altaria. Rock Tomb gonna grab a shield there, and the opponent will reach a charge move. Of course, Sky Attack, Flamethrower, either gonna hit for super effective damage with the debuff that actually doesn't quite take us out. Their final Pokemon gonna be an Empoleon, and we come in with a Shiny Shadow Shinotic. That is a bit of a mouthful, but we can go snipe with the Shiny Shadow Ursaring, going for close combat. Close combat gets the knockout there, and we should be fine in this matchup. We've still got a shield. All we need to do, shield up the Sky Attack. We should be able to outpace them to the Moonblast before they reach back-to-back charge moves here, and even if they do have back-to-back Sky Attacks now, we'd win CMP, we can full send the Moonblast. Moonblast, super effective damage. We even grab a screenshot just because we can, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we've got another triple level 50 team here, leading with Totodile in the lead up against a Kanto Ninetales. And of course, Energy Ball is going to hit for super effective damage, so we are going to shield. Now, we don't have a great answer here, but we are going to swap out and hopefully catching an Energy Ball onto our Shadow Bulbasaur, where that is double resisted. We can now reach a Sludge Bomb, and it looks like we're going to win CMP in this matchup as well, which is pretty crazy. Sludge Bomb is going to be shielded. Are we going to double shield here? Yes, we are. They full send the acrobatics. The opponent's switch clock should be coming up very soon, and unfortunately that is going to force us to throw a Sludge Bomb into the Ninetales coming back in, but Sludge Bomb grabs a shield. We can now come back in with the Totodile, and we can go straight for the Aqua Jet. Aqua Jet gets the knockout there. Very clean KO. They're going to come back in with a Jump Off, and we can still reach a Crunch. However, Crunch really not going to deal that much damage. Crunch not going to get a debuff either. The opponent is going to be allowed to overfarm just slightly as they fire off the Energy Ball, getting the knockout. We're going to come in with a Joltic, and we should be able to live on acrobatics. This is going to be quite uncomfortable for us, but we are just barely able to hang on, and we're able to reach a Cross Poison. Now, Cross Poison is super effective. It gets the KO. Their final Pokemon is Azumarill, and we do still have a chance here. We're going to fire the Sludge Bomb, and we throw on CMP. That is huge for us. If the opponent goes for any slight overfarm, this could be game over, but the opponent, they throw straight away, which means now Joltic comes back in, just narrowly able to reach a Cross Poison before being farmed down, and Cross Poison, super effective, gets the knockout there, and we're able to take that game. Into the next battle, we're going to see a lot of lag on the opponent's end here. Honestly, like crazy lag there. They're starting like 20 turns behind at this point. But either way, we're going to fire off a Swift, and then we're actually going to swap into our Toedscool. That is definitely an interesting decision since they're going to be on Icy Wind, and we are double weak to Ice. But maybe just felt bad about like getting so much farm there in the lead matchup there. So instead, we're going to come in with the Toedscool, but then they make a very questionable decision as well, coming into a grass and ground type Pokemon with a Gastrodon. However, we don't have any grass type moves to hard punish them. The opponent gonna fire off the Body Slam, which we're able to tank fairly comfortably, and we are just gonna settle for the Wrap. Wrap is going to get the debuff, and now we can come in. Look at the insane damage of those Magical Leafs. At this point, they go for a Body Slam, but that's fine with us. They come back in with the Wigglytuff. We're going to look to overfarm, and we're going for a Triple Axle. Triple Axle is going to boost up our attack stat. Triple Axle gets the KO, and their final Pokemon is Morpeko. And at this point, it looks like we are going to overfarm. So we could obviously just throw the Charge Move straight away here, but I guess we're trying to demonstrate that even with the insane lag from the opponent's end at the start of the battle, even with that, we still had easily enough energy and enough health on all of our Pokemon to get the knockout, and we're able to take that game. We're going into the final battle. We're going to see Shadow Cacturn in the lead up against a Shadow Typhlosion. So not the best lead matchup for us, but the opponent is going to respond to our Lycanroc Safe Swap with a Jellicent, and this is actually a pretty decent matchup. Trailblaze going to grab a shield, boosting up our attack stat, and now we're dealing big damage. We're actually going to no-shield a Surf here. We're going to come in with the Shadow Cacturn, and unfortunately they do reach a last-second charge move. Surf gets us fairly low, but we're going to come in with the Shadow Manectric, and their final Pokemon is going to be a Ferret. So at this point, we're going to look to overfarm massively in this matchup. The opponent is going to go straight for a Brick Break, and Brick Break is, of course, going to drop our defense. However, we are not messing around here. We are full sending Overheat. Overheat is not respected. It gets the one-shot, and even though we've just double debuffed our attack stat, if they don't shield, Wild Charge gets the one-shot as well, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Now, if you want to take your support to the next level, you can become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments of every video. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has become a channel member already. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.